This is one of the most beautiful portraits of anybody I've ever seen. And,
well, this is a one of a kind. I call this my Rembrandt. That wasn't even shot bringing the camera up to my eye because I didn't want to break the mood. I was sitting opposite him and I see the yin and the yang. And by that I mean he's got the light part of his face here with a dark spot in the middle and the dark part of his face with the light part in the middle. And if you look at some of the classic portraits of painters, no two sides of the face are identical. One is always looking inward and one is looking outward. And I consider this part of his face, he's looking out into the world. This part he's sort of hiding and looking inward. So that tension, if you can get it in a portrait, I believe, that gives a certain dynamics. And I took one frame, and that's all I took. And I didn't realize till after I developed the film that it came out well.
Do you ever find photos of young singers now that are posed to look like your photos?
I see all kinds of things, especially the tongue picture. You know, there are tongue specialists where they try to mimic that tongue photograph.
I think it's called The Kiss.
This is taking place in Richmond, Virginia. It was called the Mosque Theater. And there at the end of this long corridor are two people, a young woman and Elvis. And there's a possibility of two lights, a 50-watt bulb over his head and a small window, and it's around 5 o'clock in the evening. I wanted that small window as my front light. And so I take on the persona of the maintenance man of the building. I say, "Excuse me, coming through." And they sort of inch forward a little bit. I squeeze by, and just as I'm set to shoot, and I've got my frame, she says to Elvis, "I'll bet you can't kiss me, Elvis." And he makes an attempt to kiss her, and she sticks out her tongue just a little bit, and so does he. And he comes in at a tenth of a second. That was the end of this very infamous erotic kiss. And my attitude was continue shooting till they tell you to stop.
Right. And she's very pretty.
And Diane Keaton, who was the first to buy that picture from me, she called it the most erotic picture she ever saw.
Did you ever get told to go, to back off? Were you ever?
Once in a while he would look, he would not tell me stop shooting, but every once in a while he would lift his eyebrow, which meant give me a chance to breathe. And this photograph, this is a secret. He's looking at me like, "What are you doing, Al?" And what is he doing? He's buttoning his fly.
Yeah. It looks like he's telling you to.
Like he's like saying, "Hey, cut it out," you know?
Norman, this is a very kind of macabre, dark, haunting couple of photographs.
This is a band called The Locusts. I like the whole aesthetic of this band and the anonymous, way that they portray their music. So I thought it was just a cool.
Have you had any interest in taking pictures of musicians?
Yeah, I mean, I shot an album cover for Warner Brothers for a country singer ages ago, and used my son. I used him in a way to help me shoot the photograph to bring out the lightness in this singer, and the photographs came out great. But I love the idea of shooting bands and musicians, and I love that. It's great. Yeah.
It's funny. I had the good fortune of talking to Bill Claxton when he was alive, and he and I were talking about the series of photographs he did of jazz musicians, and he says, it's the reason why those pictures look so different is because the times are different. And
yeah, but they're involved. They're all involved in their music. Dizzy Gillespie with his cheeks all blowing. They're involved in their art, so you can do your art without telling them what to do. Beautiful. Most people are impatient. They want to take the snap. They want to take the picture. So they say, "Could you stand still?" No, that's not what you want to do. Could you get involved with yourself somehow? comb your hair, talk to your friend, think about what's going on tonight, so that the inner part of what their mind is thinking about is coming out on the outer surface of their bodies. Elvis was his own director. I didn't expect anything from him. I didn't want him to do me any favors. On the other hand, I was going to shoot exactly what I wanted to. And in the end, there were only 2 posed pictures of the whole collection. And that's what happened when he became totally bored and had a 4-foot panda, stuffed panda, sitting on his lap. And he basically asked me to take a snapshot. Everything else is pure Elvis.
They had several ladies of the night that were involved in the film, and of course my eye gravitated that way, and I began to hang out with them and take portraits of them.
I've got 2 shows going, one in Paris, one in Spain, and but what was the question?
I don't know.
I forget.
I'm lost in your
go.
voice. I have no idea.